Okay, so by the title, you guys already know what you're getting yourself into. This is a how-to video on how to boost a 2jzge-t, non-vvti, and vvti. It was very, very confusing. It's been a while, and I know you guys have been waiting for me to make this video, but trying to think about how to do it, it was very, very confusing. So what I did was I made a write-up on it. So I'm going to go through the whole write-up so we can get from point A to point B without backtracking and forgetting things. Before we get started, I'd like to get a couple points out of the way, main things that you guys are going to want to do, and things I recommend. For either engine on this build, you're going to want to put ARP head studs in. You don't have to, but if you're going to boost it, you might as well pull the head off, and you might as well do the head gasket too. You'll want to get a brand new set of ARP head studs, an Oem Gte multi-layer head gasket, and a brand new timing belt. You can get the timing belt that I have, but you don't have to. It's not recommended. It's just that is stronger, but it's just user preference. I'm going to start with the vvti because it's actually set up a lot easier because it has all the sensors and everything needed to actually get to where I am. If you're here for the non-vvti, just listen to the whole video because everything that I'm going to go over with the vvti is actually going to be the same for the non-vvti, minus a couple things here and there. I'm going to go over a basic list of things that you guys are going to need to make forced induction. I'll give you reasons to why you need these, followed by the rest of the parts to make power. Number one, you need to either build your bottom end or you're getting an SC300 or GS300 early years bottom end. And this is because the bottom ends from the vvti is actually very, very weak. They can only handle 400 horsepower, like 350 torque before you start bending rods. The bottom ends in the SC300 are basically the same as the GTE, minus some oil squirters and higher compression pistons. It's exactly what I've got in my car. It's a stock block from a GS300. That would be the best budget thing to do. I don't really have any prices for you because prices can vary depending on where you get it from, whoever you get it from, junkyard, wherever you go to get it. Number two, you're going to need to ditch the stock fuel rail. If you do not ditch that stock fuel rail, it's not going to work because the stock fuel rail on the vvti is a single-ended fuel rail, so it has no return. Fuel pressure regulator is either on the fuel pump setup or it is right before the fuel rail. If you do end up boosting and you put a bigger fuel pump in your car, you will blow something up, you will blow out the fuel rail, or you will destroy the fuel pressure regulator and then it just won't work at all, or you will have way too much fuel pressure. That is just not set up for forced induction or a fuel pump rated for more than what is stock. You're just going to want to ditch that stock fuel rail. You're going to have to go with an aftermarket one. To my knowledge, Radium is the only company that makes a fuel rail for the stock runner on the vvti engines. You can pick one up for about 230 bucks. I've got a dual feed, one return out, and it's been working fantastic. So I recommend that. Number three, I do recommend you delete the crossover pipe. So going with a sheet metal intake. Sheet metal intakes, very cheap. You can find them for about 120 bucks, 130 bucks, 140 bucks, something like that. They bolt right to the stock intake runner. The reason to get rid of the crossover pipe is obviously it looks ugly, and for performance reasons, the crossover pipe sits too close to the hot side on your turbo. That results in higher intake air temps. You will make less power. Along with the sheet metal intake, you're going to have to get a 90mm throttle body or a throttle body that'll fit, 3-inch coupler. Going anything smaller than 3 inches is kind of ridiculous on a JZ. You'll start choking things. Just want to get that airflow going pretty good. I got 3-inch pipes all over. Everything is 3-inch except for the turbo outlet. That's 2.5 inch. You can skip this if you want to. You don't exactly have to do this. You can do it later. Just whatever your preference is. Number four, you're going to need an intercooler kit. CX Racing, make sure it's chassis specific. I'm still running a CX core. It's been fantastic. Obviously, you guys have seen what it's capable of. CX is very good at making things that's very unordinary. So if you guys have some kind of different build that you guys need some parts for, you guys can email CX Racing and they might make something new for you without an extra cost. An intercooler kit can run you about 450 to 550 bucks. It's just depending on what your setup. Number five, you'll need a turbo manifold. Again, it's going to be chassis specific. CX Racing is what I'm running right now. Make sure you're not getting a manifold for a 240 and you're trying to put it in like an RX-7 because it's probably not going to work. Unless your engine bay is extremely big, then don't worry about it. You can pick one of these up for about 550 bucks. That's what I paid for mine. It's been fantastic. Number six, you're going to have to get an oil filter sandwich plate, and that replaces the stock oil cooler. This plate has multiple oil ports on it that you can put fittings in, and you can put oil pressure sensors, turbo feed lines, and I actually have my vvti solenoid is going to it, because the non-vvti bottom ends do not have ports for the vvti. Now for the go fast parts, this is where things can get kind of expensive, but I'm going to give you the best budget options and websites to go to get these things. You can get things used if you guys have patience. Ask around the groups, and you might be lucky and find some things that are extremely good priced. For a turbo, I recommend BS Racing. They're a rising company that they've been proven. They're doing really, really good. Their cars have been in 4s. In the 8th, they have been 7s, and then the quarter, I believe they might have been 6s, but they've been fantastic. Very, very cheap turbos, but they're very, very good. They're made, most of them are made in-house. Obviously, I'm not going to give you prices. You guys can search their website if you need some stuff, but most of these things are under $1,000 and they're pretty decent. I'll leave a link in the description of where to go for that, and you guys can check it out if you want to. And this actually goes for the wastegate as well. They have wastegates, blow-off valves. They got most things there. You're going to need at least 1,000cc injectors, as I recommend going E85, because it reduces the amount of detonation that you'll ever have. I've never had detonation on my car, regardless of my timing and my boost pressures. If you're going to run 91, you're going to make sure that you got to have conservative timing, and you're not going to be able to run as much boost, because you'll have detonation and you'll end up exploding or blowing something up, and you're not going to want to do that. For an ECU, of course, I'm going to recommend ECU Master. That's what I've been running on this car for the last 2 years. That's what I started running on my RB26 car. It's been fantastic. Supports like everything. I've got AM smart coils, it supports it. I've got FIC 2150s, supports them. It supports like everything. I've actually just turned it up. I'm on 35 pounds of boost right now. I gotta get back on the dyno, but it's supporting everything and it's having no problems whatsoever. It's very capable, and I 100% recommend it. You can pick one up for about $8.99. You can probably get one used for $6.50. I paid $6.50 for mine. So you'll have to get a wiring specialties harness or something that's custom for the ECU, or you can get a jumper harness made. ECU Master might have something made for the vvti. Last I knew that they didn't, but they had something in the works. So if you're lucky, you can get something like that. They're like $250 to get one. Obviously, a harness is going to be a lot more. I built my harness, but it was OEM, but I deleted a lot of stuff and added a lot of stuff. So if you're into wiring like that, it's easy to just build your own. You'll be good to go. A couple other things. You're going to need to drill and tap your pan, because the non-turbo engines obviously do not have a return line for the turbo. So you have to drill and tap it. Very, very simple. All you need now are new gaskets, belts, and supporting mods such as fuel pumps, fuel pressure regulators, and gauges. Please do not forget to install a wideband sensor. You always want to be able to see what your air-fuel ratio is, so you're not driving around lean and blowing something up. It's just not worth it. Okay, so that's basically going to be it for the vvti engines. Very simple, and it's only because of the sensors that are available, the cam sensors and the crank sensor. For the non-vvti, now this is why it was really confusing and I had to write this all out, is because the non-vvti is one of those things where there's a lot of stuff you have to modify in order to be clean and nice. You're basically ready to be boosted because you have the superior bottom end. Like I said before, it is basically the same as the 2jzge-t bottom ends, same rods. Pistons are higher compression, and there's no oil squirters. You're gonna make all the power you want on it. I promise you will, as long as you're not stupid with it. The stock non-vvti GE oil pumps, OEM, if you still have the original one, they do not have a crank sensor port on them, so you're gonna have to get a new one that supports the crank sensor. You're gonna want to get a new oil pump to support a crank sensor unless you plan on staying distributor. If you do not stay distributor, you're gonna have to modify your head in order to get cam sensors. There are write-ups on Google for it. I've never done it, but you guys are more than happy to go check them out. Once you get the cam sensor set up, then you're basically ready to go, and you can just keep the stock head. My advice to you, the non-vvti guys, I would actually advise you guys to swap the heads. The vvti GE heads are very good. They've actually been proven to flow the best. My advice to you would be to swap that head onto your bottom end, and everything in the first half of this video applies to you from there on. Other than that, that is basically it. The last thing, the non-vvti bottom ends, as I said earlier, do not have a vvti port. So the way that you would counter that is with the Mishimoto sandwich plate, or whatever sandwich plate you're going to use. There's a port on it, and yeah, I used a 6A line with two 6A fittings, of course, and that's how mine is fed. That is basically it. That's how you get yourself a boosted engine for a budget. It's easy, right? You just gotta get out there and do it. Throw some money. Be patient. Ask people for things. If you guys want to save money, make sure you're asking around, asking for specific parts. But yeah, guys, that's all I got for you. I knew this one was a little weird since I had to go through my write-up on this, but it's a lot to go over, and it's very, very confusing, especially coming into the non-vvti engines because of their distributor. If this video helped you guys, and you guys liked it, hit the like button, dislike it if you dislike it, subscribe if you're new, stick around, watch some stuff. I got a couple of videos planned, and Nathan, if you're watching this, we're starting the series. Everybody's gonna like it. I'm telling you. So hurry up and upload your video so we can get going. I'm telling you. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Later.